Anyone raising a toddler knows how hard mealtimes can be. Whether you feel your child is eating too little or too much, we know one thing is for sure: eating habits from childhood carry us all the way to being a grown-up, being an adult. So here to tell us how to handle mealtimes in a way that will benefit you and your child in the long run is registered dietitian Nishta Saxena. Thank you so much for being here.
Thank you so much, Kelsey. Great to be here.
Yeah, so this all stemmed from a conversation we had a couple of months ago where I was telling you about the troubles we were having in our own house. My son was not eating. It was becoming a giant fight. There were timeouts involved in supper time, and I was approaching every meal wanting to cry. Oh. So thank you, one, for the guidance you had, but I hope that we can help people at home as well.
Absolutely. One of the things we want to say as an overarching concept with kids, we know that many things can affect their appetite. Illness, sleep changes, if they're starting a new daycare. So we want parents to have the expectation that these things may affect their eating. Ages and stages, as children go through different growth and development stages, their appetite will ebb and flow, and that's actually normal. And in the long run, you want to try not to stress. As long as your child is growing, easy said than done, is growing at their normal rate of growth and development, you really eating and feeding and nourishing your child is really about the long game.
Long game, not individual meals. So let's tackle the problem of not eating first. Okay. So what do we not want to do?
Well, what you really don't want to do are some of the things that may be intuitive. You don't want to goad or force. You know, if you've ever heard...
Exactly what I was doing.
Yes.
Right.
If you've ever heard the parents saying, okay, 3 more bites of this, 3 more bites of your broccoli, come on, 1 more bite, that really creates a negative and kind of a stressful interaction where you're not respecting the child's body and their willingness to eat. We really want to avoid that pattern. Another thing we want to do is not bribe. This is a tough one.
Right.
I have lots of parents that will say, you finish your vegetables and then you'll get dessert. Or, oh, you didn't eat your vegetables, so no dessert for you. It's a very, very common sort of mechanism where we're showing children that food is related to being rewarded or punished. And those are some habits and some connections we don't want to make, because when we make them in childhood, they will continue into adulthood.
Absolutely.
Yeah. And the last one would be judgment. It's hard. Try not to judge. Why are you picking apart the food that I made you? It was perfectly good altogether, but allow your child to eat how they want to eat.
So a really good tip you gave me was to just completely ignore my son when he was eating, to just talk to my husband and say, hey, hon, how was your day? And just literally like block him out of the side of my vision so I didn't get so mad. And it totally worked.
Great. Well, it's really about taking the focus off the child. We don't want to focus on why is their behavior not changing? How come they're not eating? Because it just breeds stress and anxiety for both parties, for the child and for you. You can story tell, talk about your day, talk about plans for the day, and keep meal times to about 10 or 20 minutes, and that'll really try and take the focus off of the eating habits and really enjoy the moment of nourishing yourself.
Does portion size make a difference too?
Yeah, you don't want to overserve a child. You know, there's no reason to give them an adult-sized portion. You can give them smaller amounts. You want to have a variety of foods offered. Give them some of their favorite, but in the same quantities, some of those vegetables and other foods you want to get into their body, and then allow them to choose what they want to eat. It can take up to 18 times for a child to respond to wanting to put a new food into their body. So it really does take that consistent exposure.
Long game, parents. Long game. Just long game. So let's go to the other side of the spectrum. So I was talking about this with our producers, and one of our producers spoke up and said she's having the complete opposite problem, where it feels like her child is eating what is a totally normal portion, wanting way more, and still not feeling like their appetite is satisfied. And she's watching the growth kind of become abnormal, I guess, like not continuing on their normal trend. So what do you do when you're on the other side?
Well, on the other side of that, you know, a few things. You want to make sure that you are limiting screen time, in a sense that you're not sort of using media and screen time during meal times or snack times, because that can really breed that mindless eating. And children may not be sensing when they're hungry and full. You also really want to stick to meal times. It can be challenging at first, but you want to tell your child, gently encourage them, hey, you know, when we have lunch, I definitely want to make sure if you want to have a little bit more, we can, but when it's not lunchtime or snack time, we're not actually going to be eating and we're doing something else. So really using that sort of action distraction, getting out of the kitchen. The best solution is getting outside and really removing yourself from the eating and feeding environment, giving your child attention. And sometimes it's the attention. They may be anxious about something, and that could be kind of spinning out as wanting to eat more, but in fact, it's related to something else.
And is there ever a point where we should involve professional help?
Absolutely. If you start to notice worsening or repeat patterns in terms of feeding and behaviors around eating, if you do notice eating behaviors changing along with other symptoms, or if you notice your child eating actual items such as chalk or paste or glue, as in ingesting them, that's a definite signs that you want to get to the doctor and be checked out for sure.
Okay. Thank you so much. Hopefully this relieves some of the stress. Just parents keep saying long game.
Yes, and I wish you a relaxing mealtime tonight with your little.
Oh, thank you. Blood pressure already coming down. Nishta, thanks so much.
Thank you, Kelsey.